When I was around 11, I was told by an older cousin of mine that if you dance with boys, you will get pregnant.
Hello, welcome to this wonderful panel discussion on Do Kids Really Want Sex Education? And we are going to be speaking with a panel of incredible experts today. Very excited to get into the conversation, but let me just tell you why we're having it in the first place, right? Often we, as adults, talk about what children want and what children need very much from our perspective. And we forget to consult the most important stakeholder in this entire scenario, which is the young people themselves. And we at Untaboo have always believed in including them in the conversation and really understanding from them as to what they want. What are the topics that they are curious about? Do they feel like they know it all? So, okay, let's just jump straight into it.
As a child, how did you think babies were created?
I thought that babies were we just got babies like a gift. Like we asked from God that give us a baby, and we got a baby.
Right. And God gave babies to just anyone or only to mama and papa?
Only to mama and papa.
Only to mama and papa.
I thought that if somebody hugs you or if somebody, kisses you on the cheek, a baby is born. And that's why whenever any relative or any friend used to come to hug me, I used to stay away from them. I'm like, oh, you want to make a kid?
An angel gifted her to me. So I always thought that, everyone got a gift, definitely how Vyom said. But then I definitely read the book and I got to know about everything about sex education.
What did you think? Did you know it from a very young age?
I think probably that's how I got into this field, because I realized the angst of a child growing up not knowing things.
Right.
I was told when I was around 11, I was told by an older cousin of mine that if you dance with boys, you will get pregnant. I believed this for the longest of times. And trust me, my teenage years were spent without dancing with any boy. So, and of course, I got to know again through a friend the facts of life. I wish my parents had spoken to me. I wish my school had spoken to me. Because what my friend told me also later on, of course, you realize that it was not the most accurate of information.
Why are some parents hesitant to have this discussion?
Maybe they don't know that they know all this stuff and they don't want to put ideas inside their heads, So it's it could be awkward. That person may not know anything, and when the parents are talking about it, they're just what is happening? So it's definitely they need to know a little. They need to go in that stage where they are laughing about it, so they can make them understand properly.
Right.
See, most of us have grown up without any sex education. So obviously we as parents, now that we are parents, we have hesitations. There is an awkwardness. We don't know what to say, when to say, how much to say. I think to parents, I would just like to say that, imagine your child having problem in math. You would expect the child to go to a math teacher in school to solve that problem, that doubt. Now, if a child has questions about these topics, you should be the one the child should be coming to. You can't shoo away that child and tell him, I won't tell you. Where is the child then going to go? Obviously, the internet, which will give him not possibly the accurate information. So be that source of information for the child.
What's the best way to start this conversation?
There are teachable moments every single day in your life. Whether you're watching television and an ad for a sanitary napkin comes in, it's a teachable moment. After the ad gets over, ask your child, hey, do you know what this is for? And talk about it. You see an intimate scene on a show, after the show, talk to your child about it. What do you think about this relationship? These are different kinds of relationship. You see a condom ad, a hoarding of a condom ad, talk about it. There is opportunity, teachable moment everywhere. As a parent, you just have to ensure that you are willing to talk. The rest will fall into place.
If your mother didn't know the answer, would you laugh at her?
I can't blame her if she doesn't know. Experts will know, but she's not an expert in that field. So maybe she has the information that is needed and not extra information, which is at another level.
Because no one is an expert on this. People have to definitely put a lot of hard work to learn each and everything to get the correct answer. So I would also be with her and research with her, because I don't know, she doesn't know. I wouldn't judge her, because it's fine if you don't know. No one knows anything. That
Absolutely.
What are some things that parents should discuss with their teens?
Probably about masturbation is a very big topic which people don't talk about, especially in India. Second is having a girlfriend or a boyfriend, it's really some parents, just to seem cool, they tease you with your boyfriend or
Hmm.
girlfriend, and then the topic becomes very sensitive after a point. Even when you're
Hmm.
grown up, it
Hmm.
becomes sensitive where you're not comfortable.
Hmm.
And
I feel like hugging a boy or something should be like normalized. Now, like, people shouldn't
Hmm.
start saying, "Oh,"
Hmm.
when like they see a girl and they're hugging. And like watching porn should also
Hmm.
be normalized because everyone has, the needs or
Hmm.
whatever to
Hmm.
do that.
Hmm.
People should like not judge if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Like they shouldn't call you names like, a hoe or something like that for
No,
having more
absolutely.
boyfriends.
And these are conversations that young people should be able to have with their parents and present their opinions like this, right? The youth of our nation is very opinionated. And it's actually a beautiful thing. And we have to have spaces, especially at home, where they can express those opinions.
Consent. Definitely talk about consent with your kids. Teach them how to say no to anything that they're not comfortable with.
Right.
And I also think that sexuality should be talked about a lot more
Hmm.
than it already is, because
Hmm.
even all of the sex ed that we receive, it's heteronormative, and
Hmm.
it doesn't, like, no one teaches gay sex. What if you're
Hmm.
intersex? What if you're trans? No one teaches you how to
Hmm.
have sex or what sex is like or what puberty
Hmm.
is like. And I
Hmm.
think that more conversations about that should be opened up as well.
Like I would like to talk about hormonal changes and physical changes like before, because I know that I am aware about it because my mom is liberal, but there are many teenagers who are like super conscious because they are not taught in school about changes their body is going through, like
Hmm.
pimples,
Hmm. Hmm.
mustache that is growing.
Hmm.
So get conscious about it. So actively talking about these concepts will make them love themselves, because nowadays the teenagers who are not aware about hormonal changes or physical changes that they go through,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
they're always super conscious. Like if someone shows, they try to hide it. Like in
Correct.
many apps also they show. So I would like to talk about that more.
Um, I feel like also just body image is such a like important thing, and it's while going through puberty, girls gain fat, right? And their like
Hmm.
hips widen, and it's normal to gain fat when you're like going through puberty. But
Hmm. Hmm.
it's so everything that you see on social media and on the internet is like all of the, I don't know, underwear advertisements. It's got models who are like stick thin, and everyone thinks
Hmm.
that you have to look like that in order to look beautiful. And
Hmm.
even like on TV, all of the actors who play teenagers are actually in their mid-20s. And so
Exactly.
teenagers think that, like, they're supposed to look like that, but that's actually not natural.
And I'm going to just take on what Agastya said, that he's at that age where probably he knows everything. But Agastya, even at your age, I am sure there are lots of conversations parents need to have. For example, rejection in relationships, how to deal with it.
yeah,
Expectations of first time sex. What you think the first time should be and what it actually is, because if the youngster's expectation is coming from what they're probably watching on porn. Now, is that the reality?
yeah, I would say
What
Yeah.
do
it's
you
not.
think about that, Agastya?
So,
And even for younger kids, there are so many topics. Sex education is not just about sex. There is so much more to sex education. So if you as a parent are facing this angst by your teenager, it is to do with the fact that the body is changing, the hormones are changing, the emotions are changing.
hmm.
And a conversation around that will definitely help your child be much more calmer, much more focused in academics. Because
Hmm.
puberty is supposed to be the most stressful time in a child's life. And obviously, it impacts the academics also at that point of time.
What are your thoughts on the subject of periods?
About it. At first, I felt a little disgusted because like blood is coming out from you, but like I got used to it. Like it was
Hmm.
definitely, I understood and I talked with my mom and it turned out well in the end.
Yeah, even my mom taught me that what happened to girls at like when in puberty, and in school in biology we were supposed to be taught about this in seventh grade, but then it got postponed to eighth grade. And I remember when we were being taught in eighth grade, everyone was so shy, and some my friends were giggling.
In school, in like grades 7, 8, even a little bit in grade 9, all of the girls in my class were really embarrassed about their periods. They never said that openly. They were like, "No, of course it's natural, it's fine." But we would always, like, if we were going to the bathroom or something, we'd hide our pad in our pocket and walk like quickly so that no one would see us and things like that. And then when we had sex ed in school, there was like 36 girls and boys in one closed classroom, and we were made to talk about periods for like 1.5 hours. No one could leave. And it was just, yeah, it was really uncomfortable for those 1.5 hours. But after that, none of us are embarrassed about it. Like if I need a pad from someone, I'll yell to my friend across the hallway. I mean, it's just, it opened up so many more conversations. And it's just like that one session made it so much less awkward between people of different genders as well, and we were all just so much more open about it.
Since a very young age, my mom has been open about periods and stuff, and oftentimes she used to make me go into the store, even when I was like in 9th or 10th standard, and make me buy pads while she was in the car. And that is why I've always felt really normal about this. And this also happened when I was in the 10th standard. There were two girls who came up to me, right, and they asked me for a 5 rupee coin, because in our school, in the clinic, there was a 5 rupee coin pad dispenser. So they want a coin, and I'm like, I don't have a coin. I didn't understand what it's for. Like, they just asked me. I gave them a 10 rupee note. I said, take 10 rupees. I don't want 5 rupees. But then it's like, oh, I need a coin. Then, I got a coin from somewhere because I understood why they needed it. So if the guy is educated on it, a well-educated person who knows what it is would always go out of their way also to kind of help, because they know that, it's not really comfortable for the girl. And yeah, that's why I feel more guys should be educated about this topic, so that they can help in case a girl needs help, or just be comfortable with it.
Are you able to discuss your relationships with your parents?
I think that I can, although I prefer not to. Just because I feel like my dad can be a little overprotective. He'll be like, "Oh, don't wear shorts when you go out. Don't go out with this guy. Do you like him? Don't." He can be a little overprotective, which is why I prefer not to. But I feel like that being said, I've never actually dated anyone. If I did, I probably would try to have a conversation with my parents about it. But I have talked to my parents about crushes before, and I have talked to them about my sexuality. But neither of them dated when they were in high school, so they don't really get it as much as like someone like my sister does. So it's easier to talk to someone in my own like age level than to talk to my parents. But it's not uncomfortable.
Yeah, I speak to my mom, but I feel that most of the time, like when you have a crush on someone, I feel more than the parents teasing you, the classmates tease you even more. But like after a long time, then it starts getting annoying. So I think friends also should not overdo it so much. Yeah.
Okay. So the thing with me is that since a young age, I've like told my mom whenever I liked a girl, it's become very very normal. And if I actually when I had a girlfriend a while back, if I, for example, if she was coming home, then I tell mom that, Mama, she's coming home right now, and we're gonna sit inside. And mom was very normal with it. And I told her that, don't, if you're coming in, not just knock and come in, right? With my brother, younger brother also. And also now, whenever I like a girl, I just come and tell my mom. It's a fun conversation. She gives me tips on what girls like, what they don't like, and it's become really fun. And whenever she sees that girl in public, she teases me, fun nag kind of a thing. And that is not the nagging which some parents find cool and do, because if they've not had that conversation with their kids, then that teasing is bad in the mind of the kids. Then the kids get more shut off to that topic. But if you've had that conversation, and then if you're teasing them, then it bonds y'all even more on that particular topic, right? So that is why I think it's really really important, because crushes and everything are really normal at this point. And just having the conversation the first time is the most important thing, because then the progressive steps become relatively easier. That's what I think.
Right.
Absolutely. And crushes not at your age, even at our age, are normal. Because a crush basically means you're crushing over somebody. It's not that you want to get into a relationship with them.
Exactly.
Crush over, celebs all the time, right? Movie stars, sports stars. I have my kids teasing me so many times, oh my God, look at that, mom is watching that and blushing. So I think that's the kind of comfort level you should have with your child, and that will only come with conversations. You're absolutely right, Agastya, there. Yeah, putting a child in a spot is not a great idea. Okay, tell me about your crush. No child is going to come up and tell you about their crush. Maybe you can start the conversation, when you're all sitting down comfortably one day and said, you know what, I used to have a crush on this guy or girl, depending on who's talking. and oh my God, for 6 months I had a crush on that person, and I never, had the courage to go up and talk to that person. Talk about your experiences. Talk about when your heart broke. Talk about the fact that when you maybe approached your crush and maybe even got slapped. Talk about those things. And parents, kids, close your ears. I don't want you to listen to this. This is just for parents. Parents, if you have never had a crush,
Yeah.
make up one, make up a story and tell the kids about that, because that will make them open up and uh, share their crushes with you.
No,
Okay, kids,
definitely.
you can hear now.
I think they heard it all, but we don't know what conversation. Nothing happened. So,
So do you think that will help you? In fact, I would love to know from the teens here, that if your parents talk to you about their crushes, will it help you open up and share your crushes with them?
I think for me, it definitely would. I've kind of always been the one to instigate these conversations with my parents. Like in the fourth grade, I asked my mom, "Did you ever have crushes when you were a kid?" Because I didn't want to say, "Oh, I like this guy," but I would just sort of prod her to start the conversation. I feel like if she started it first, then it would just make it a lot easier
Yes,
for
awkward,
the
yeah.
kid.
Definitely. But the thing is that I've like never had a
fair.
crush. But I'm gonna add to it that it was definitely like when people overdo it. Like I've had so many friendships and they've been cut off because like they are shy and they are awkward and they want to
Hmm.
break it off because they'll think that I'm thinking that they're
Hmm.
weird or something to have a crush on me. So I feel like if I ever had a crush and they made up a story, I would definitely like chime in.
Yeah.
But like
And that is
I
another very
haven't had, so
important conversation, that it's normal to have a crush, it's normal to want to date and have all of those feelings, but it's also as normal to not have a crush and to not want to date and to not want to be with someone. So it doesn't have to be so binary either or, right? Um,
In
okay,
fact, Agastya was telling us this interesting thing the other day about the fact that how they feel the pressure to date because of their peers.
correct.
Yeah, so talking more on that, because in this generation, um, it's just glorified having a girlfriend or a boyfriend is what you should be doing at this age, not by your parents but by your peers.
Correct.
And if you don't have your first kiss or your first sexual experience by a certain age, it's kind of used as a brag having a sexual
Hmm.
experience, which it
Hmm. Hmm.
shouldn't be. Because I mean, good for you, okay, but it's not something you should brag about, because everybody has their own time at which they feel comfortable, and there is no standard time that anybody can decide for anybody else except themselves when they are
Hmm.
ready to have that first experience. And
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure all of us as teens right now can relate that there is a lot of pressure put on us also, not directly but indirectly, by our peers who have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and saying that,
Hmm.
I did this, I did that. And we feel like, is there something wrong with me that I don't, either one, don't want to do it, or two,
Hmm.
don't feel comfortable doing it or haven't done it,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And these things really make us question things in our own mind, and our self-esteem goes down, we feel weird about ourselves. And
Hmm.
it's something that needs to be understood, that everybody has their own time and you shouldn't rush into anything, because you're not answerable to anybody except yourself. And if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to do anything until you actually do feel comfortable.
But this is a great point for parents to note, that
Yeah.
kids as young as Agastya is 18, and the kids start feeling this pressure at 13, 14 to date, to experiment.
Yeah.
And here the kids are feeling the pressure, they're wanting to do it. And here are parents thinking that, shall I talk to them about puberty? Please take a reality check, parents, and have these
Absolutely.
conversations. Help them deal with that peer pressure which they are facing. Know what is the reality in their life.
I wanted to add on to that it's like either gender shouldn't like base like if the relationship is not if there is no sexual intimacy, it doesn't mean that the relationship is going downhill. Like it's okay to
Hmm.
like not go to that the second base or the first base or anything like
Correct.
that.
Correct. Very well said. Because platonic dating is just as valid. Wanting to have a companion, wanting to have somebody to do a fun activity with or share, companionship with is just as valid. Very well said, Bhuashwa. No, which was I was coming to this point where I was going to say that all of you have spoken so confidently. All of you have seem to be so secure about your body, seem to be so secure about your sexuality. Of course, confusions will be there, and of course, all of you have questions too. But the fact that all of you have received sex education either from a parent, from your school, or by attending a workshop or by attending a play, you've received some kind of sex education, really shows in the way that you talk and conduct yourself. So, Anju, my final question to you is, what are the benefits of sex education? We've spoken so much about it. We've also seen a live example of how beneficial it can be. But what, according to you, as an expert, are its benefits?
I think the benefits of sex education are that you're giving the kids accurate information, age appropriate information. You're talking to them in a language they understand. Even if a 7-year-old comes to you asking what sex is, as a parent or as an educator or as somebody in school, the information you give them about sex will be an information which is enough information for the child's curiosity to be satisfied and for the child to get the right information, rather than the child going to the internet and getting information which for a 7-year-old would be information which will change the attitudes, will define the attitude this child has about sex and women and relationships. So don't hesitate to give sex education to your child. That is my constant appeal to parents, because it helps them define attitudes and get the right information to keep themselves safe also.
What message do you have for the adults?
Questions too. But the fact that all of you have received sex education either from a parent, from your school, or by attending a workshop or by attending a play, you've received some kind of sex education, really shows in the way that you talk and conduct yourself. So, Anju, my final question to you is, what are the benefits of sex education? We've spoken so much about it. We've also seen a live example of how beneficial it can be. But what, according to you, as an expert, are its benefits?
I think the benefits of sex education are that you're giving the kids accurate information, age appropriate information. You're talking to them in a language they understand. Even if a 7-year-old comes to you asking what sex is, as a parent or as an educator or as somebody in school, the information you give them about sex will be an information which is enough information for the child's curiosity to be satisfied and for the child to get the right information, rather than the child going to the internet and getting information which for a 7-year-old would be information which will change the attitudes, will define the attitude this child has about sex and women and relationships. So don't hesitate to give sex education to your child. That is my constant appeal to parents, because it helps them define attitudes and get the right information to keep themselves safe also.
Safety is such a big component of sex education, which is why we call ourselves the safety and sex education company, because safety first, obviously. Thank you for those inputs, Anju. Now I want to speak with the young people on the panel. Typically, when we have a panel discussion like this, at the end of the session, we ask all the panelists, what is your message to the youths of this nation? So my question to you now is, what is your message to the adults of this nation with regards to sex education? Maybe we can start with Bhuvashwa.
My message would be that stop being judgmental, understand your child, and just communicate with them. Don't just like jump into conclusions before hearing the story. And like to the friends, like stop the bullying just because he or she is doing something different. And like watching porn is not disgusting. People just should like just stop judging. Like you are not related to that topic in any matter. So you can guide them, but you can't, but you should never judge them, because they can turn out to be something that you always fear.
Absolutely. And whether we ban porn or whether we allow children to watch porn, whatever our take on that, we can't necessarily control all actions that a child takes. But definitely educating them about the reality behind porn is crucial, and having that conversation with the child is crucial. Vyom, what is your message to the adults of this nation?
So I think parents should be more open, and they should not think that they are just young. They will learn as they grow. So they should teach their kids the sex education, and they should be open with their kids. So like if they teach sex education, then kids will be protected from sexual abuse or bullying. So they should be aware and be protected from sexual harassment.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, and you bring up such an important point about safety and how that is at the core of this education.
And rightly,
Nanda,
like sex education is not about sex. It is about life skills which last a child their entire life. So don't fear it, parents.
correct, correct. Nantara, would love to hear from you. What's your message?
Yeah, I have exactly 4 words to say. Talk to your kids. Your kids are not as innocent as you think they are. They're not as naive as you think they are. And they will find information from the wrong sources if you don't talk to them. And just having like 1 or 2 conversations, start small and build up, but having that sort of open communication between you and your kid, it's not only going to make them have safer sexual experiences and be safer when they're growing up, but it's also going to make you and your kid closer. And that's really important. You can have those sorts of conversations with your parents and your kids.
And since your school did give sex education, what's your message to schools across the nation, maybe?
Probably just the same thing, because having those conversations just opens up so many different doors, and having awkward conversations is what makes it less awkward.
Correct, correct. Very well said. How about you, Ved? What is your message to the adults?
I feel like Nayantara mentioned the first time you do it, it is awkward. But before that, I think you should plan and do it. Like Anju ma'am mentioned that telling your crush to your kid first and then they opening to you. So I think the starting point, like the people who are lazy also, if you just push them to start, they'll continue with their work. So that's what I feel. You should just push to start the conversation and then automatically it will happen and it will become normal.
And you so fantastically said that planning for this conversation is also so important. Finding the right time, finding the right topics to talk about, the right setting maybe when all of you are doing well and not necessarily fighting. When your child slams the door, please don't use that opportunity to start have
Yeah,
conversations with
in
it.
a light
Yeah,
environment, you have to make
correct.
the environment light, and then automatically the kid will be open.
Very well said. How about you, Agastya? What is your message?
My message would be don't be hypocrites and say that you care about your kids and you want them to do the right thing, but then you're avoiding one of the biggest issues in this generation that they need to know about. Because every parent says that I love my
Hmm.
kid and I want the best for him. Then, if you want the best for your kid, talk to them about this. Because now, but with social media developing so fast, topics such as consent is so important, and safe sex is so important. Because if you do say that you love your kid, then the one mistake which he or she can possibly make if you don't tell them
Hmm.
can ruin their lives, and whatever you wish for them or whatever
Hmm.
you want them to be, or you wish good for them, right? It can all go to waste just because of one conversation you're scared
Hmm.
of having
Hmm.
with them.
And even if you're
Beautifully,
yes, yes, Anju, please.
yeah, what beautifully he summed it up, Agastya. And during this COVID times, in fact, I'm going to tell the parents to remove that mask from your face and break that silence and have those conversations. Your children need those conversations. They need a reliable shoulder to lean on and be that shoulder for them. In fact, I urge all parents to partner with Untaboo and help us raise these well informed, rightly informed, responsible kids, and it will automatically lead to a safer society for your children.